Tyler, can you hear us? Yes, we have you.
Yeah. Sorry, I tried to get this backdrop in a kind of okay place. It looks like it's pretty close.
No problem. It looks good. Yes.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys.
For, working with the setups and the backdrops and all the things that have come with virtual media day.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we will take as many questions as we can here in our allotted time with you. So thanks again for joining us, and we will go ahead and start with Jacob Silman. Go ahead, Jacob, with your question.
Thanks, Amanda. Tyler, thank you for taking some time. Obviously, the next week, meaningful in a lot of ways, emotional in a lot of ways for the company. You were probably too young back in 2001 to really have any memory of what happened. But what has this been like in the lead up to the Daytona 500 for you? And when you look back on Dale Sr.'s impact on the sport, I mean, what memories or thoughts do you have?
Well, Dale left a void in the sport that hasn't been replaced. He was one of a kind. I personally never got the chance to know him in person, but through my time at RCR, through my time in the sport of racing and NASCAR more specifically, I know a lot of people that have worked with him, knew him, called him, a father, a friend, and to hear the different stories about Dale from these different people, it's really eye-opening. And yes, obviously it's been 20 years and it will be 20 years, I should say. And yeah, it was a huge loss for our entire sport. Unfortunately for me, it was, I would say one of my earliest memory of NASCAR racing, unfortunately, was watching this race on TV at home when I was very, very young. So it's an awful first memory to have, but in honor of his passing, we're going to do everything we can as an organization to get the 8 or the 3 back to victory lane.
What would a 500 win, given the anniversary and just trying to soothe some of those memories or replace them with better memories next week mean for you guys?
It would mean everything. Obviously, there's, like I just said, there's a lot of in the sport of NASCAR at RCR. He left when he left everybody here at RCR in NASCAR, it's you can't replace a guy like that. And so obviously the team's moved on. Everyone's, it's tough to move past, but the things that have happened since that horrible loss that we had, that our sport had, that everyone had, that knew him and that was that looked up to him, the safety innovations that have come along the way since that awful, unfortunate event has been very, I would say, monumental. I mean, the sport's changed so much. Even just the time that I've been here, that drive to continue to improve safety has never stopped. And to just see how much ground has been made and how much progress has been made since I stepped into the truck series quite a few years ago now. That innovation and that drive to continue to make the sport safer is not lost it's not lost its edge. They continue to sharpen every little tool that they have to make these cars safer. So guys like myself and my teammates can go out there and put on the best show possible for these fans.
Thank you, Tyler. Good luck next week.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Dustin Albino. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, Tyler, not only will you be running the 500, but you'll be doing the Xfinity race next week with Our Motorsports. Obviously, you're your 2-time champion, so I'm curious of what piqued your interest to return.
Well, when the offer got passed along my way about running an Xfinity car, it meant a lot. And obviously knowing that it was going to have an ECR engine under the hood made it that much sweeter too. All the folks down there at ECR I've gotten to know the last couple of years from running the Xfinity car and the Cup stuff. They put out the best engines in the garage. So to have that opportunity come along and be able to get back in the Xfinity series, I really wanted to run some races last year, but with the pandemic happening and everything kind of changing in the time that came after that, it was just in a big adjustment period. And now that we're kind of more comfortable with it, understand what we can and can't do with this opportunity that arose, I was very excited to have it. And, it's nice to get back in the Xfinity series and race with guys like Noah Gragson again. My teammate Brett Moffitt, we've raced a lot in trucks and other things along the way. So it'll be nice to be teamed up with him, and it'll be nice to get back in those cars and get some practice and go back out there and get that feel that I really enjoyed in the Xfinity series. The super speedway cars are a little bit different than what we race in Cup now. And I just felt really comfortable in those cars. I'm starting to get really comfortable in the Cup cars too, but they're a blast to drive.
Is it a one-off, or do you expect to be in other races as well?
As right now, it's one race, but we'll see. As things continue to change, who knows? But for right now, it's just Daytona.
Thanks, Tyler.
No problem.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee.
Super, thank you, and thank you for joining us today, Tyler. Real quick, if you were going to give Chase Briscoe advice as far as making a splash in his first year of Cup, what would your advice be to him?
Well, your strengths are really important as a driver. You always want to, when you're going to a place that you have a good feel for. For me, like a Homestead, you try and circle a race like that, or races on tracks similar to that. For him, he's good at the tracks with tire fall off. He's good at the road courses. You want to circle those events, but you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. You can do everything right and stuff something take place that takes you out of the race or doesn't exactly give you the shining opportunity you were hoping to go out there and get that win that you really want to get. You got to, I guess, keep your head in the game is a good way to put it. There's a lot of challenges and there's a lot of things that I had to learn as a driver in my rookie year, and I'm continuing to learn just in areas that I wasn't the best at, whether that was pit road courses, techniques on some of these different short tracks. It can be easy to get down on yourself, and when you go from having a bad day running 7th or 8th in the Xfinity series, a bad day in the Cup series is outside the top 20, and that can be difficult to get used to, but he's going to have good people around him. I had good support from Austin, from Bubba, from Ty last year. So he's going to have good people around him, and Cole Custer, he was teammates with on the Xfinity side, and still will continue to be teammates with at Haas. Cole just went through that, and he'll be able to share that. They'll be able to share with each other, and that'll be helpful for him too. So he'll be fine, but it's definitely tough. There's nothing like it. I mean, you know that going into it, but then when you get there, it can be very overwhelming, and you just don't want to get down on yourself.
And is dabbling in a dirt late model in your future?
Getting back in one, you mean, or running one?
Getting back in one, team ownership, anything along those lines?
Sorry, cat's making noise down there. There's one problem doing it from home. There's stuff happening everywhere. As of right now, probably team ownership. If I ever owned one, I'd be selfish and want to drive it. I've always kind of joked about that. I'd like to get back in some dirt racing when there's time. I've been trying to put a lot of effort, especially this offseason, just thinking about 2021 in a Cup car. Obviously, I say that, and then there's a race coming up here in the 03 for our motorsports. But again, it's all around the idea of getting more seat time, being more prepared for the 2021 season. But I'd like to, we're now a year into being. I'm now a year into being a dad and a parent, and getting a better understanding what that's like, getting better understanding what I need to do to get better on the Cup side. So as some of these things kind of fall into place where I'm hoping they will, I can hopefully put some more time aside to do some of that other stuff. But again, it would, as much as it'd be for fun, it's in the interest of becoming a better driver. So if I went back into dirt racing, it would be to try and help me become a more well-rounded driver in the Cup Series.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to go to our next question with Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thanks, Amanda. Hey, Tyler, I got two for you. The first being the lack of practice last year. How much did that affect a rookie team in the sense of slowing down your progression, maybe making it a little bit longer for you guys to get going, learn what you need, and just get your feet underneath you?
It kind of, it was good. It was good and bad. So I wouldn't know if I'd necessarily call it a wash across the board throughout the entire year. We definitely had some highlights where we were really good, and maybe some of the other competitors missed the mark a little bit, and that allowed us to get good top fives out of it. But there's definitely situations where just we really wish we could have adjusted after one lap on the racetrack. We wish we could have adjusted something, but everyone was faced with that. But for me and Randall, going to a lot of tracks with a new car for the first time was a challenge. Yes, there was some sort of a notebook from last year, but when the new Chevy Camaro body was into whole race car worked, especially on these bigger racetracks, the aero balance had shifted, and a lot of the things that they had for notes had disappeared. Let me know if my connection.
We can still see you. Your connection is a little bit spotty, but we can still see you in our camera.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm on my good internet, so I can't really. I think it went out. Maybe.
Can you hear us, Tyler?
Yes.
Okay, we can still see you. So maybe just keep talking and we'll see if it sticks.
Is the audio coming through?
Yes, it's crazy that you
okay.
do that because it still works on our end.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're a little bit spotty.
A lot of houses and I think they stepped on a wire or something.
Okay, Tyler.
You guys hear me okay? Video
yes,
working?
we can hear you. You are frozen.
You guys got me?
In the video, but we can't hear you.
Hey, is this better?
Okay, now we lost you.
I'm trying something else, so hopefully this works better. Let me know if the video picks back up.
Okay, we will.
Am I back? You guys got me?
Okay, we can see you now. Can you hear us okay? Okay, now we can't hear you. Okay, Tyler, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
You can't hear me at all?
Kelly, I think you were, I think he was answering your question. Go ahead if you need to refresh.
No, I had another question just to follow up. And I heard that your workout program has maybe increased significantly. So I just wanted you to discuss maybe the reasoning behind that and how it's going.
Can you hear me okay, Kelly?
I gotcha.
Awesome. Sorry. We're trying Kayla's phone because, I don't know. Of course, a phone can work better than, apologies for that. But yeah, obviously with the weekends kind of shifting and things changing and only really being at the track, maybe at the Clash, and then this week coming up will be different than a lot of the weekends we have throughout the year. So with everything that's happened, you're spending less time in the car, you're home more. So I've just been trying to maximize time I have out of the car, so I'm more prepared when we get to the car. So it's been a good process. I feel like I'm in better shape than I've been ever in a car, but I haven't been able to go practice or really do anything in a car. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see till I get there. But it was a good off season. Normally I get a little bit chunky and gain a couple pounds, so I'm nice and fat for the weigh-in. And then I try and lose it. But this time around, I tried to not really take any time off as soon as for me, 2021 started the day after Phoenix. And I think some of that comes from kind of what I said earlier, where I was so, wanting to do better in 2021, didn't win in 2020. Obviously, it's a Cup Series. It's the hardest series to win in, but nevertheless, it's been a long time since I had won in a year of racing. So I was motivated to get better, and I was just been able to pick up the slack on some of those other things and just try and be in better shape for my team.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Chris Estrada. Go ahead, Chris.
Tyler, thank you for joining us. Obviously, you had some really good runs last year, and you finished in the top half of the field more often than not. So with that in mind, which areas have you and your team pinpointed entering 2021 to convert those top 20s into top 10s and 15s more often and get the better consistency you need to contend for a playoff berth?
There's a few things, but I'd say the biggest one that was a takeaway for us is managing the worst part of our race better. And normally that kind of occurred about midway through the race. Sometimes we could recover from it and get back into, running for a top 10. But a lot of times when we'd be in pretty good shape on pace to run, somewhere right outside the top 10 or in the top 15, that bad run takes us so far back that it's really hard to recover from it and get a good finish out of it. So just trying to manage that area of the race better. Along with that, when something like that goes wrong, just minimize the mistakes going forward and just try and make the most out of those struggles, or that big struggle that you may face. You're going to have each race, you're going to have something that's your biggest struggle, and just trying to get across that better and with a better head, or maybe with a better, a better strategy getting through it. Whatever it might be, we've been looking at it and just trying to be more aware of that as an issue, and look at just how can we prepare better for it? How can we handle better? Just kind of self-reflecting, I guess, like that. At the end of the day, on average, it's a silly number because one situation, one race changes all of it. But we just had 3, 4, maybe 5. I think maybe 5 races. I don't know. It was 5 races too many, obviously, of just finishing outside the top 30, especially on days where I feel like it wouldn't have been too challenging to get in the top 15. So we just got to be smarter with those.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next question here from Mark Guerra with PRN. Go ahead, Mark.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Tyler. Last year during your rookie season, were there times that you had to, as a rookie, were taken advantage of by a veteran driver and you just had to take it? And did that either A, get better, or did you have to get to a moment where, somebody was trying to take advantage of you and you finally drew a line in the sand, and then at that point, you were left alone, so to speak? I mean, how did anything like that happen?
Sorry, I didn't know the coffee machine was gonna run. Apologies. I'll wait for it to stop.
Well, I mean, you got the cat, the coffee machine, it all works
not done
out.
yet. I forgot. Cat, the coffee machine, the backdrop's gonna follow me next. Then we're gonna lose power in the house. I don't know. We'll see what happens next. Actually, it's funny you say that. There's maybe a couple situations or a driver or two that would happen with. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it was, but more times than not, actually, it was kind of the other way around. I was kind of the guy that was maybe a little bit too aggressive, and I feel like the veteran drivers were having to cut me breaks that I feel like they wouldn't cut for other guys that had been doing it longer. I remember very early in the year, I was racing against Clint, and we were like 35, 40 laps in. I don't know what it was. And I really thought I was clear. So I was trying to, he was trying to get around the inside of me, and I was trying to come down, and I thought I was clear. I wasn't, obviously. So he was cutting me a break. He should have just hooked me and wrecked me down the front straightaway. But he kept coming down the racetrack with me as I blocked him. And naturally, he was kind of pissed about it. It was 30 laps in. So, I've been cut a few breaks by guys just by doing things like that. I probably shouldn't have, but hasn't been terrible. You know, like I said, I think everybody has a guy or two when they move up to the next series that like to give them a little bit harder times than most. But for the most part, it wasn't really anything like that. It was just a matter of, you know, some of the veteran drivers just knew, okay, when I get to pit road, I know Tyler's not really good at running right on his lights or running, you know, the most efficient time down pit road. If I push it a little bit, get into the box, I'm probably going to get out right in front of him, and he's going to have to lift and get in behind me. So just stuff like that, or just, you know, everyone kind of knows I have a tendency to love the top. So, you know, I'm sure half these drivers get here. Oh, Eight's run a little bit faster. He's 5 back now. They don't even have to look. They just, I'm going to run the top this lap. Oh, there he goes. He's 10 back now. Don't worry about him anymore. Just stuff like that. So just got to try and break those habits and not be so predictable, I guess, going forward.
You had some really strong runs last year, came really close at Texas, obviously, to winning. You and Austin had a great afternoon there. How disappointed would you be not to win this year, given some of those performances a year ago, and not make the playoffs?
I better not. I'm honestly not really wanting to think about that. That would not be good for my future if I can't get to victory lane and I miss the playoffs again. So I'm trying to think positively and think about what I can do to be better, become better. How can I capitalize on a situation like you mentioned, Texas, and how can I do it again and win instead of coming in second? I'm really not trying to think about that, you know, being in that place at the end of 2021. It's kind of a direction I don't want to put myself in. I don't want to give that any more fuel than it already has at this moment. Trying to just focus on the things I can do to be better. There's plenty of opportunities to win. It's just about making the right decisions at the right time. You can, obviously, we've all seen it. You can have the fastest car and still not win. It's about running a good race and being smart.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Internet's messing.
Question from
You guys
Zach.
having trouble hearing me again?
Yeah.
Yes, just a little bit. It goes in and out. Sometimes it's very clear and sometimes it's not. Zach,
Give me a second. I got one last. I'll try and fix it really quick. Got one other Wi-Fi network I can try, and hopefully it works. Sorry about that.
okay, Tyler, can you hear us? Okay, looks like he might be trying to connect again.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay, you can hear us.
I think
Okay.
it's connected to my hopefully the Wi-Fi network that will work. Hopefully it works. After this, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I'll just try and go stick an antenna in the air. I don't know. Sorry.
Well, you're close. You're close. So, Zach, go ahead with your question.
Tyler, there's a lot of new on the horizon this year. It kind of feels like a new era, but particularly with Jimmie Johnson's retirement, what kind of gap do you feel like he leaves behind here? And what do you feel like is the direction of NASCAR without him? Obviously, one driver doesn't make the series, but when you lose a 7-time champion from the series, it certainly seems to have some sort of an effect. What do you feel like that effect might be for 21?
Yeah, you know, Jimmie was an outstanding individual. You know, he was good to his competitors, good to the fans, and good to the people that worked with him. And he was, you know, just an all around great guy. You know, with everything we went through last year, especially, you know, the social justice issues. You know, he really took the lead in putting a video together that we put out you know, and he was just you know, a natural leader, if you will. It seemed that way. I only really got to get to know him a little bit, just off and on through certain situations when I needed some help with a road course or a track or two. But the way that 2020 went with COVID, there wasn't a lot of opportunities to really be around Jimmie. But I text him quite a bit about the IndyCar endeavors and how that is and how much he likes it. I like to ask him about, you know, what he thinks of it compared to what, you know, he made a career of doing. But definitely, you know, a guy like that, you know, when you're just an you know, Xfinity driver, part-time Xfinity guy, and you can text 7-time champ and he'll text back right away. Or, you know, if your bike rusts up on the way down because of an unexpected rainstorm, and say, hey man, like, I need to get my bike fixed. What should I do? And he, you know, sends you a name and a number and says, go see him. And the guy fixed your bike within the day. I mean, that's just the type of guy he is. And, you know, some fans probably want him to have some, you know, I guess more fire in moments when he was upset about things, but he was just all around good guy. And that's what made him a 7-time champion, being true to himself. And I don't know if we necessarily need somebody to step in and be a Jimmie Johnson. We just need we need the drivers, including myself, just to be true to who we are, let our personalities shine in those moments. However, you know, we feel like we need to feel in those moments. We don't need to hold back. We just need to show it. And for Jimmie, that was just being, you know, very cool-headed and handling it all very professionally. So he will be missed for sure. It was really cool to have him in the garage, and it was hard to see him go, but it's really exciting when someone like him can do what he's done in NASCAR, and he's got opportunities lined up to run an IndyCar. So I'm really excited for him, and I know he's having a blast right now. He's having fun learning how to drive something all over again. So it's tough to see him go, but I'm happy for him.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Tyler, we appreciate your time. Thank you for working with us on your connection, and we wish you the best of luck in the Daytona 500.
It was all my fault. Sorry, the internet's no good.
We appreciate it. Unfortunately, technology is something we don't have complete control over. So
I don't get it. It works perfectly fine when I FaceTime my family, when I'm watching TV, when I'm downloading a movie, whatever it is, it works fine. But for some reason, it doesn't like Zoom calls. So I'm sorry.
Well, we appreciate it. And like we said, best of luck next week in Daytona.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for the patience, and thank you for the great questions.
Right, and to all the media who have joined us, friendly reminder, we will have video and audio from this session posted to NASCARmedia.com. We have a little bit of a break, and we will see you guys again at 4 o'clock.